There was a time in Magic's history called ELDRAZI Winter. I was not playing during that time, but I've heard that it was wild. So let's pull that energy into the Commander realm with this precon upgrade of Zuladoc, Void Gorger. This is not a sponsored video, but this seems like a great place to talk about Moxfield. Moxfield is my primary deck building website. I just think it's the easiest. The imagery looks fantastic, and the way that they organize decks just makes so much sense. So if you want to take a look at all of the decks I've built, from my giveaways to my personal decks, head on over to Moxfield, create an account, and give me a follow. My first cut is Suspicious Bookcase, just because this is a decent blocker, but ultimately I think that we don't need to worry too much about making things unblockable in this deck, because they're all just so massive. And I'm going to replace that with Wayfarer's Bubble, because having ramp, especially land-based ramp in this deck, is going to be really important so that you don't get blown out by a Vandal Blast. My second cut is Ornithopter of Paradise, because specifically in this deck, adding colored mana can prevent you from using certain activated abilities. And I'm going to replace that with God Pharaoh's Statue. I've played against this card recently, and it just does so much work in slowing things down for the rest of the table. And in a Cascade deck, this is going to be pretty good at 6 mana. My next cut is Myriad Construct, just because as the number of colors being played at the table goes down, this loses some of its effectiveness. And I'm going to replace that with Ugin's Conjurant, because this is a great scalable effect that lets you play it early if you need to, and really pump out a big beater late in the game. And my last cut is Flame Shrieker, just because this is a cool card, but I don't think you need to have this double strike effect in the deck. And I'm going to replace that with Invasion of Ravnica, because this is a 5-mana removal spell that is very hard for people to deal with. The backside isn't that big of a deal, but it is a pretty big creature. If you found this Deck Doctor upgrade interesting, please consider joining my Patreon. It's linked down in the description, and it would go a long way in helping me make these videos even better.